The future of designing for print on demand is here. If you're one of those people in my comments who absolutely hates Canva because they have made designing too easy, and I'm literally not kidding, there are threads on my TikTok comments about why Canva has simplified graphic design to the point of ruining a whole career. There are some strong opinions out there. I'm not lying. But if you're one of those people who hate Canva because they made designing too easy, get ready to be really angry at Kittl. Since the beginning of my print on demand journey, I have used Canva for my designs. And I still am a huge Canva fan, but sometimes they do have their limitations on certain design styles that I want to create for my print on demand shirts and products. Because of their limitations, I've had to find workarounds, which include bringing my design to a different platform, having to re-import it into Canva, which has just caused a lot more time in my designing. But with Kittl, they have solved pretty much every single limitation that I had an issue with Canva. They have built it right into their platform, making designing super simple. So today I want to walk you through Kittl and how to use it and how you can use it to create your print-on-demand designs and make them next level designs. One of the first reasons I have really been liking Kittl is because of all of their templates. Tons of other platforms have templates that you can use, but I found a lot of them just aren't really applicable to t-shirt designs or different print-on-demand designs. Versus going through the Kittl templates, I have found hundreds that I can't wait to edit to create some of my designs with. You can search either by kind of the feel, we can go by vintage, Halloween, beach. There are tons of different search options you can look, but you can also filter by the different products that you want to create. So let's say that we're doing t-shirts, we can just go into their t-shirt designs and then scroll through those. Scrolling through these real quick, I'm already seeing a bunch of them that I would definitely like to edit to be my own. They're always adding new ones as well. Every time I've logged in, I've just seen tons of new different templates that I'm able to use. So that's great knowing that I'm never going to run out because Kittl currently is in beta and they're just adding more and more and more. It's already fantastic, but just knowing that it's still growing is also super helpful. All right, I found this one. I am loving the vibe of this one, especially because it was just the Super Bowl. So I'm going to edit this to make it my own so that I can use it on a print-on-demand product. So when you are in here, you do have to change up the template before you're able to use it legally on any of your products. You don't want to be stealing someone else's artwork. These are templates, not finished designs. So you have to change it to be your own. So I'm actually going to pretend that I am British here. And I'm going to pretend football is the actual football with a ball that goes with your foot, if you know what I mean. I've never really liked the American pronunciation of football either, but I'm going to go, it's football. I'm going to double click this here to change this season. I'm going to change it to this year, which is 2023. And then I'm probably just going to delete this all-star right here. And then I'm liking the way this looks so far. And then what I want to do is I actually want to change this helmet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up their elements. So Kittl, like Canva, has tons of elements pre-entered so that you can use these. You can also bring in your own files, but right now I just want to use what Kittl has available to us. So I'm actually going to click our helmet here. I don't want this anymore. I'm just going to delete that. And I'm going to bring in this soccer ball. I'm going to make it bigger. And then we can also change the colors of the soccer ball to match our design more. So I'm going to click in here. And if you look down here, you can actually see document colors. So these are the colors that we've already used in this file so that we can make it match a little bit more. Okay, I don't like that. Maybe I'm going to make this like this orangey. Okay, I like the look of this. And then let's change this up, maybe to the blue. All right, I think I'm liking the blue. Maybe a darker blue. Okay, let's do the darker blue. And I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. So now it is the UK version of football season. If you notice up here, we actually have these two stars. They're not really spaced for my design anymore because we changed this top word. But if you click on both of them, you'll notice that both of these stars get highlighted. If you used Canva before, you are probably familiar with grouping. Grouping is pretty much combining two different elements so that when you move one, they kind of move all together. But you can ungroup these. I'm just going to hit click and I'm going to hit ungroup. You can also hit Command G to group or ungroup two products. You just have to have them both selected if they're separated. So I'm going to hit ungroup. And now these are acting as separate elements again. So I'm going to move it in closer. And there we go. I like this a lot more. So while we were here, let's go over some of the other major benefits of using Kittl. And the first one that I want to bring up is this layers. Right here, you can see that we have layers. Layers, I like to think as if we had a book and all the book was see-through. Which ones are going to lay on top of each other? Whatever is at the top of our layers panel is going to show on top of all of the other products or all the other elements that we have. So this illustration right now is our soccer ball. So if I did move it to the back here, you're going to see now it is showing up behind the text boxes because we moved it further in the layers. If you wanted to make things a little less confusing, because you can see it just as illustration, you can just double click on this and you can change this to any naming that helps you identify which layer or element that this layer is referring to. So probably one of my favorite things about Kittl is their ability to edit text, because this is what I found extremely lacking in Canva was your ability to really do anything with text. And text and typography is super important when you are creating some print on demand designs. And it is very hard when you have to find workarounds to add text to your design. So I just hit the word football here, and our little text settings box comes up. If you hit right here, you can see that there are different shading styles that you can add in. And down here, you have the ability to just edit even more. You can edit offset, so we can make it look like it's sticking out a little bit more. I'm just going to move that. We can change the angle. We'll see this more if it's this way. You'll see that this can move around. I'm just going to put that back. We can add an outline width. And there's further decorations down here as well. And then the best part is this transformation. So we can do custom, we can distort, we can do circle, angle, arc, rise, wave, flag. These are different styles that we can put our text into. So let's look at wave. Looks awesome. Let's go back to our distort. And from here, we can edit our file. So I'm just going to drag this down because we hit distort. Now we're able to move our file in ways that we weren't able to before. And if you want to just get wild with your design, you don't like any of these transformations, you can hit custom, and then you can pretty much edit this to be warped any way that you want. So this is super helpful. Say if you have a flag that you wanted to warp this to, or you wanted this to go around an object, Kittl has made it super easy. Another thing that we can do is add in more text. So to do that, you can just hit T for a shortcut. If you ever want to find shortcuts, you can actually just hit the button right here and you'll get a pop-up with all the different shortcuts that you could use to make your designing faster. So we're using this one, hit T to add a text object. And then once we add that, we're going to get a new box where we can edit the file. So I'm going to go back to adding in our drop shadow here. I'm going to change this a bit to match our last one. I'm going to change our text colors. And then I'm also going to change our font to something a little fancier. Let's do this one here. And I'm going to change this a little bit more because I cannot see what I put. I'm also going to add an outline. There we go. Okay, now it's sticking out a lot more. I'm going to change this up. And then I'm also just going to bring this out so that it all fits on one line. Then another thing that we can do in Kittl, which I love, which we aren't able to do in Canva, is edit the text to include glyphs. And what are glyphs? Glyphs are just extra character styles that we can use in a font that isn't part of the standard character set. So if you hit this button here, you're gonna get glyphs. And let's say I wanted to see if there's a different L that I could use here. I'm gonna type in L, and you're gonna see that there's a few different options for L's. How about T's? There's a few different options for T's as well. So you can just hit from your glyphs the character that you want to add in. And you can see that this T varies from this T. So perhaps I want to use that T instead. I'm just going to delete that. And now we've changed the T. And there we go. So you can go through all the different glyphs in there to see if there's maybe a fancier first letter or fancier last letter to really spice up your text. I am actually going to delete that from my design, though. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I did want to show you the different options that you have with text. If you also wanted to use a different text that Kittl does not have, say you found your own on Font or Creative Fabrica or wherever you get your fonts, you can also upload them into the platform here by going over to your text settings and then under typeface, this little upload button right here. Just please make sure that you're able to use these for commercial use if you are selling these on a print-on-demand product. You might notice that there's actually a kind of grunge effect on this design that was already included, but how do you add your own? Or if you want to delete this, how do you delete this grunge effect? Even though they're super popular right now, so I'm a huge fan. But let's go into our design here. If you wanted to add your own grunge effect or texture, it's right under their own kind of file right here. So you can hit textures. And my favorite are to use the different grunge textures, but they have paper textures, patterns, tons of other ones that you can apply to your design. Right now, we actually have a grunge texture on here, and you can see that by just hitting on your background. We're gonna see this right here showing texture and opacity, which you can play with to make it stronger or a little less overwhelming. One thing you'll also really want to make sure before you save your design is that this is hit. Clip content. And I'm going to show you why. If you do not have clip content, I'm going to change this. You're going to see that the design is applying to everywhere, not just your file, but the whole background as well. So when you save this, this is not going to look very good. But if we hit clip content here, now you don't see it applied to the background anymore. You only see it applied to our different layers or all of our elements so that we can save this as a PNG file so that we're only printing our design pieces. So I'm just going to lower that back down. I'm going to change our background color for me white just to make sure that we're not saving anything unimportant to our design. If you are using this for print on demand, you're also going to want to make sure that we are printing this at a high quality. So to do that, we actually need to change our canvas size. When you're starting your own Kittl file without a template, you can pick the size beforehand. But when you're working on a template, it actually has a preset size that you need to edit before you save. So I'm going to hit settings here, and you can see custom size. I actually like to save my print on demand files at 5,000 by 5,000 and make sure that's pixels, and we're going to hit confirm. And then what we can do is actually just highlight everything, and I'm just going to make it bigger and just watch out to make sure nothing got too pixelated. Everything looks good to me. And then finally, we want to save our file. So to do that, in the corner here, we're going to hit download. We're going to make sure that our DPI is set to 300 and that our width and our height are still 5,000. You also want to make sure that remove background is ticked on. If you don't have this remove background switch on, what's going to happen is you're going to get a file with this whole white background in the back, which you do not want, especially if you're printing this on a print on demand product. And then I like to save as PNG because a PNG file has the ability to have a transparent background while these other files don't. So I'm going to save this as a PNG file. And now we're going to have a beautiful PNG file that we can print on our products at high quality, and it looks fantastic, and it was minimal work to try to create those designs. So if you are not a graphic designer yourself, working off templates is an amazing way to create high quality graphics for your products. If you want to give Kittl a go, there is a link in the description to try Kittl for free. Thank you guys so much. I hope this was helpful. Let me know what you think of Canva versus Kittl. I am super interested in if you're going to give Kittl a go. Thank you guys, and I'll see you next week.